Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. So the deal was I meant to go to the record store even the week I had off a few weeks ago and didn't. After getting into the new Midlake album that I did the review on Friday, I thought, well, I like it enough. Let's see if I can buy it, pick up a copy rather than order it online. But I didn't manage to get there until yesterday. The other one that I'll show here is this band called Squid, who put out their record last year, the debut album that I really like. So I'll show a bunch of records and then also a CD or two. Actually, two CDs quickly. There's one that I've been meaning to show. One of them is a local CD. They're both, well, one's from this year, one's from last year. This one's 2022. Local ensemble, other country ensemble, OCE, Convivencia, local band. They it's kind of a bunch of people that are like related to Boiled Lead, and Greg Heriges was with this band for a while. It's kind of klezmer-ish, kind of chamber-ish, folky. I've seen them live. I've really enjoyed them live. This is their CD. I'm not like head over heels in love with this album. I guess I support them because I like them as musicians. Like they're some of the members' primary projects, but it's good. It's not amazing, but it's the best local album I've heard this year. And I don't know how many albums I heard last year. Galactic Cowboy Orchestra probably was the only one last year, but anyway, yeah. I mean, the one sad thing is that David Stencil, who had been with them at points, he passed away last year. Unfortunately, his battle with cancer ended because he was in Boiled Lead and some other bands locally. But it tells the lineup on here: engineered by Scott Neiman, Mark Black, Steve Clark, Scott Neiman. I'm not sure if Greg Heriges is even on this, unfortunately. I could be wrong. I'm not seeing his name. But Mark Black I'm friends with. I've known through a few connections as a musician, and I think the band he's in, Orchestra Besime, I forget the name of it. But he plays percussion, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of, it's an ensemble sort of with a lot of different people that have gone in and out. One of these songs with Chris Bates, who's played Team of the Garage, dedicated to John McLaughlin. So, I don't know, I'm still kind of listening to it, but it's kind of a mood record, but I'm glad I got it. But the other CD I finally got in the mail was the Pepe Deluxe album from 2021, Phantom Cabinet Volume 1, which I showed the vinyl about a month ago, I think it was. Due to the problems with my mailing and stuff like that. And here's the book, and like I said, I need to read through it. I was paging through it a little bit today, but I haven't. Man or Machine, is it? Man or Machine. It's like Pepe Deluxe music is like a comic book itself, So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of dedicated, and especially because their discography is not very large, dedicated Pepe Deluxe fan, and I'm going to, maybe at some point, especially if they're going to do a second record at some point too, but maybe do a video just talking about the actual story of Pepe Deluxe. I still think that they're grossly, the two primary members, Paul Momsen and James Spectrum, grossly like sort of unknown, even though they did some soundtrack work for like the Angry Birds animated movie or game, I think it was. This does tell the lineup on it, some of it right here, but I haven't read through it in detail. But it tells like who the different singers were, I believe, and some of the instruments. Orchestrion, I think, of Pat Metheny. I wonder if the members of Pepe Deluxe are fans of Pat Metheny. I know they're a fan of Van Hertzen Brothers, who just put out a record like last week, the week before. The same day, I think, as the... Yeah, I think it was the same day as Midlake, but they're a fan of Van Hertzen Brothers, which I've never gotten into. I've only listened to a few songs, but, maybe it's time that, they're one of those bands like... There's a band a few years ago that I felt the same way about. They have a lot of albums out, so it's kind of daunting to try to, like, check out their whole... Or where do you start with their catalog? I'm forgetting the name. Oh, Motorpsycho. Motorpsycho is kind of similar in that way. So, all right, so I'm looking for the Midlake album. I'm looking for Squid, as I mentioned. Of course, it's not actually on the end caps at Cheapo in St. Paul when I went there. But so I'm thinking, I'll look in the Midlake section. It's not in Midlake section. There's no Midlake card in the Modern Rock section. And they've kind of rearranged things at St. Paul Cheapo the last few months. Haven't been there for at least 2 or 3 months. We went there on Record Store Day. We're not shopping like we used to, but my wife and I. But then I go to the new arrivals, and they've changed that. The used music that's newly arrived used music has been moved to a different part of the store. It said it was a couple months ago. I don't remember seeing that when we were there in November. But yeah, so what do I find? The record I was talking about in the review, The Trials of Von Accupanther. And I don't have this. I did not have this previously on vinyl, but I guess this was reissued. So I don't know. First pressing, maybe someday if I really desire. Kind of a brownish. I don't know what it looks like. Almost like tea or like coffee with like milk or something. Gold, kind of. I mean, I don't call it exactly gold, but it's a good record. It's a record that now I have to revisit it. I could appreciate more. So this was from 2006. And again, it was on the newly arrived new releases. It came out, I think, maybe even the same day on the 11th when the Midlake record came out, the new one, the Bethel Woods album. But yeah, no, it says I don't know. I don't know if this is a reissue or just more inventory they had stuck in there, newly received. Because you think they'd put it in the normal section where their music would be kept then. It was an older original pressing. So what else do I run into on the same day? Now this was in the discount section, so this may be going back to when it was printed on Record Store Day. I'm not sure. It was back in 2019. It was still in there. I got this for, I think it was $9 or $10. So the E.B. the Younger, Eric Polito of Midlake's side project that has kind of a, like as I mentioned, it's kind of a yacht rocky 70s vibe, a very cool 70s vibe. What I'm not clear on is you look at this, some of the membership actually might be members of Midlake. The Midlake had that, like I mentioned, a long gap of not making and releasing music. 2013 was their last proper studio album until the one that came out a couple weeks ago. But thick pressing. And also kind of a brownish, not the same color, but brown. E.B. the Younger. It's called, not To Each His Own. Yeah, To Each His Own. I was thinking of, it sounds like that For What It's Worth song by Crosby, Stills, Nash, or probably by Buffalo Springfield, rather. So it's To Each His Own. But yeah, if you're a Midlake fan and you've not heard this, I think, even though it doesn't sound exactly like Midlake, I think listen, it's got Bo Bedford, Matt Pence, Eric Polito, of course, in the middle. I'm not sure, I guess, again, my knowledge of the membership on here versus Joey McClellan, does it names ring a bell? It talks about every song. I think we had some other people from other bands play on this, or this is Midlake people playing on the solo project from one of the members. So, but yeah, I was really happy. I mean, I guess given all the records I found, if this hadn't been discounted, I might have held back. But yeah, it's To Each His Own. The baseball team, it's like the Bad News Bears, if you're talking 70s vibe. Kind of is, actually, if you look at the font and the style. But this is Denton, Texas, 2019, so maybe it's the club softball team. I don't know. Is it like your senior league or something like that, or is it baseball? I'm not sure. There's probably more to this that I don't know about this record and know about the picture, about this baseball picture and the rosters and stuff like that. But anyway, so I got those two, and then of course I did track down. They had 2 versions of it for the sake of Bethel Woods. I got the cool. The deluxe edition. I didn't bring the wrap when I peeled off of it, but because the standard version is more like it's not a white, it's like a grayish cover or something like that, or even beige. But yeah, Joey McClellan, Mackenzie Smith. So some of these members were on E.B. the Younger, but some of them weren't. Eric Nicholson wasn't, Jesse Chandler wasn't, but you know, this is probably one of the first cases of an album that I've barely listened to. I just bought because I've already been wondering. And this is like, look at this cool split. I mean, I'll admit they had 2 different versions. The standard version, this version. This version was a couple more dollars, like $6 more. And I was like, well, I like this album enough. I may as well, if I'm gonna buy it, I'll buy the really cool version. This is like an aqua or like a turquoise, like a pool water kind of thing. But yeah, and all the lyrics and stuff. And, you know, I'm still kind of getting to know this record as truth. I really love it from what I've heard, the amount of times I've heard it. But I can see like months from now, when we get toward the end of the year, talking about albums of the year, even middle of the year, I'll be more familiar with it. Tim Smith is on here, of course. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really glad I got this and this version of it. I don't know if I really love this record. If it ends up being my album of the year, which at this point I wouldn't expect it to, but if it happened, oh yeah, this one's signed. It's got a signed. What do you want to call this? This piece of artwork. There's a different name for it. I'm not thinking of the thing I got from Kimbra, but I've never seen them live. But if it does end up being my album of the year, you know, I may bite the bullet and end up buying the standard version too at some point, or maybe the CD. I'm not sure. But yeah, so I kind of went on a Midlake buying spree, kind of out of nowhere. If you would have told me that, you know, at least 2 weeks ago, if not a week ago, I would have been like, "There's no way I'll end up buying." I mean, I knew E.B. the Younger, and I knew I liked the other record, the Trials of Van Panther, but so yeah, the trial for the sake of Bethel Woods in lowercase from Midlake. So moving on, so that's my 3 Midlake items. I went from having one CD and one like 12-inch split cover of a Black Sabbath song to now having 2 more records and a related side project record of Midlake. But so you could say my fandom of Midlake has kind of risen, and that happens frequently when they put out one record that really wins me over. I kind of obsess over them for a short window of time where I would like to. So here's that band I was talking about. It was in my top 5. I think it was 4 or 5, maybe right behind Pepe Deluxe. It's like Pepe Deluxe fits right up. This is Squid. This is the band from England, Manchester. I can't remember where the whole post-punk scene is. You know, along with Black Midi and Black Country New Road. Now, I haven't really mentioned that much about the Black Country New Road record, other than I can say I was interested in it, and I'm not that interested anymore. The new one. The one from 2021 that wasn't on my Albums of the Year list, like this one was, the Bright Greenfield from Squid. That record I still like, although, I mean, I like it. I'm not obsessed with it. I think this record's better, and I think among those 3 bands, this band is the band I like the most, at least at this point. They only have this one record, although they had some live, like, radio station in studio thing they did that was on vinyl there that, I don't know, at some point, I mean, it was $20. It's like, $20 is not worth what it once was. All these records I just bought yesterday, you know, it's not what it once was, this much money. But this is Bright Green Field, though, the debut album from Squid. It's proggy art rock, post-punk art rock. I don't know, the vocals are a bit much to sort of, oh, this is a double. I didn't realize. I can't remember how long this record is. It's not super long, but maybe it's over 50 minutes, so that's why it ended up as a double. But they have a lot of these moments, these instrumental sections that I like, and really great energy, and the vocals kind of grew on me. So yeah, there's 4 sides to it, because it's a pretty thick pressing. So yeah, Bright Green Field from Squid. Again, I'm not Brixton, not Manchester. Brixton's where I was forgetting that. The Brixtons, I mentioned that Brixton video I did back in January, which I never checked out the 4th band that someone made a comment, and I apologize for that. I still haven't gotten around to that. There was a 4th band that someone suggested, although I was reading a little bit about them that day, I remember, and I wasn't as, you know, intrigued by them. I don't think I should be putting both of them in one. It'll probably ruin the jacket, but yeah, I mean, you know, all of them are kind of buzzed about and a little hipster, and that's not my forte typically, but I just got won over by this by looking at the Rate Your Music Top 100 lists. This was like number 7 or number 12 or something like that, and I mean, my favorite tracks, I never did a really review of it. Narrator's the hit, per se. They got a lot of radio play. What's the other one that I was paddling? But I don't know, I mean, I listened to it maybe a dozen times, I was like, I can't believe how much I'm liking it. Again, the vocal style there's some yelling, I guess you could say. He's not the most accomplished vocals, but vocals kind of fit the music, and they grew on me. So I've listened to it recently again. I mean, I think Squid's an underrated band. I don't know what they do. I mean, I hope they don't follow the pattern that Black Country New Road did, because their second record just came out a little over a month ago. I'm kind of dismissing, but we'll see what happens next with them, I guess. So let's see here. I have a couple more records, and then I can wrap this up. So I saw this. I never did pick this up. I remember, I think it came out on Record Store Day maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. And I'm pretty sure I did a video. I picked out Liquid Tension Experiment 2, but I don't think 1 and 2 came out the same day. Now, I could be wrong on that. This may have been issued separately. I know I got LTE 2, and I was looking for LTE 1. I couldn't find it, so... But they had some extra copies. I don't know, got reissued recently because of like Liquid Tension Experiment 3 that came out in 2021, which I liked, but I wasn't. I liked the you know, the what's it called, the Gershwin cover. But yeah, this is a classic. I mean, and the second one too are classics to me. Of course, Liquid Tension Experiment. If you're a Dream Theater fan, should really need no introduction. It's instrumental music they did before Jordan Rudess joined the band with Tony Levin. It's Mike Portnoy and John Petrucci. The first, technically not the first music that they did with Magna Carta, because they were on the Rush tribute album before that. Mike Portnoy basically produced or co-produced. But it was the first original music that they ever did with Magna Carta. And it was, as Mike had mentioned in a video, I don't know if it was the Drum magazine, Drum Clinic video that I've, DVD, whatever that I got. He talked about this being the first time I think any of the members of Dream Theater ever did any work outside of Dream Theater, which then it kind of snowballed when we had him doing Transatlantic and OSI and Neil Morris and stuff like that. And of course Petrucci did his own solo stuff, and Rudess has got his solo projects, and Mayang did Platypus. I don't know if he was with Jelly Jam. He might have been on the first one. And Labrie he did Mo Musler and his solo work, which I like Mo Musler, and a lot of people love his solo albums. I've not really been that into his solo albums, but here's the second disc. So like, this is Liquid Tension Experiment 1. It has some of their catchiest tracks: Paradigm Shift, Universal Mind, if I'm not mistaken, By Accident. No, it doesn't have By Accident. That's on the second one. Sometimes the two records kind of... State of Grace was the one. Kindred Spirits was another one I really liked. You got Side 3 just for Universal Mind, and the 3-Minute Warning Part 1. It's not for Musically... Yeah, that's right. The thing is, which one do I prefer? I guess I often would prefer this one over the second one, but it's like they're very neck and neck. I'll admit, though, when I bought this one, I didn't think I even bought the second one, and I liked it, but I wasn't engaged by it because I was waiting for Dream Theater. It came out right after Fallen to Infinity. I wanted more Dream Theater. I was like, well, and I wasn't as into like jazz fusion and instrumental music at that point as I would become later. It really took a couple years later, and all the Dream Theater fans used to talk about working out to this record, just how like universally praised by most people it was, and then I just kind of listened to it this and I got the second one and just got one over, and it's always been sort of a go-to instrumental record, one of my favorites. I don't know what the third one, like I said, I like, but it sounds more like Dream Theater. This sounds almost its own entity in a lot of ways. So, so I got one more, and I really didn't spend that much time looking at the record. I was looking just for the Squid and the Midlake, but I did look at the metal section, and I found Pain of Salvation's album B. Now, I have Remedy Lane and The Perfect Element. The Perfect Element would be my favorite among those. And I have, In the Passing Light of Day, their second to last record. All the other records I have on CD, other than I don't think I have the Road Salts. But the next one for me I would look to buy would be Entropia, because I guess that got issued, and maybe 1 Hour. I don't know if both of those, I know Entropia did, because I would rank Entropia still probably third among their catalog. If I'm doing rankings at some point, maybe I will, but this was in the mix. I've always liked B. I pre-ordered it. My Message to God is on the Message to God on the DVD, the live DVD. I've always liked it, but it just kind of stood on its own. It's like a separate entity, and I never got like obsessed with it. But I always liked it. I people like hated it. I've always liked it, but it's like it does sound almost like a different band in a lot of ways. Although you could say the same thing about the Road Salts, but I was like, I like it enough. I decided just to take the plunge. Part of it's because I haven't bought records in the record store in a long time. This came out in 2004, B, from Pain of Salvation. And then they recently just have issued a lot of the records on vinyl. Panther, the last record, I don't have on vinyl. I don't even have a copy. At some point, I probably will get one. I I liked it, but I never got won over by Panther, and I probably need to revisit. There's a few recent records, that and the Last Fate's Warning albums, a few of them I need to revisit from some of my favorites, especially in prog metal. Part of it's like with prog metal, it's like, and that's why the new Zero Hour album, there's no guarantee, you know, about if I'm going to love it, even though I have a nostalgia for that when I loved them, for that one record specifically. But B was the one that followed Remedy Lane. It was a completely different, like, left turn, big concept album about sort of humankind and existence on planet Earth and what happens. It's been a lot of other records like a little like Casfly's trilogy of albums. But, you know, just Black, I mean, it's got one of their best songs ever in Iter Impius, the second to last track. It's just, even though Daniel Gildenau didn't write that was written by Frederick Hermanson, the keyboard player. But, so, you know, I mean, I was at the record store for the first time in 3+ months or whatever. I mean, I bought some music, some vinyl through the mail, you know, online. But, you know, I didn't anticipate buying half of this many records. I just figured I would buy those 2 records, and then, you know, I did a little bit of browsing and then decided, all right, this, and this. I don't know why it was all coming up, but I also thought to myself, well, Record Store Day is coming up, except there's only a couple items for Record Store Day I would even think of buying that I'm not sure I'm even going to buy. So I kind of look at, spending this much money isn't typically in my budget. Like, I didn't even buy the Major Parkinson vinyl, or there's a couple other records I haven't bought yet. I did order the Team Me record, but yeah, I mean, I want to support a local business, and something did sort of come up and cross my mind talking to my wife. We saw a documentary on one of the local record stores. You can look here, there's the B book, and it shows maybe some of the productions that they shot, because it's a concept album. They shot some film sort of illustrate the story a little bit. I mean, I don't like the word pretentious. You call it ambitious, you call it sort of egotistical to an extent, just sort of, or what's the word? Daniel Gildenau, it was mainly obviously his idea. Was he reaching to an extent? Maybe to an extent, but I think overall it still was a success in ambition, even though it's not the most addictive record. It's kind of a mood record, B. I can't get this thing in here. There, okay. It's kind of a mood record. Yeah, I don't think no, this is just the lyrics. My name would be in here. I was just obsessed with Pain and Salvation for about at least a 5-year period in the early 2000s, because they were kind of the bee's knees, you know, Remedy Lane and The Perfect Element. Oh man, and then their earlier records, saw them live. I saw them 3 times. I still say the greatest show of my life was that one in 2001. But what I was getting at is that there was a documentary that little piece. It was like 6 minutes done on this local band, local record store called Solstice Records, which used to be in South Minneapolis, now is in St. Louis Park, where the old Neil Doctor. So here we go. It talks about the concept here. I don't know if the credits. See, I don't know. I mean, they did the Messages to God and They Let People. I'm kind of talking about 2 things at once, like I tend to do. Yeah, and that's the other thing about this record is it's sort of the last record, what some people consider the classic lineup. It had Daniel's brother, Christopher Gildenau, and then, of course, it had Johan Langall. Johan Langall stayed on for one more record, if I remember mistaken. He was on Scarsick. But Christopher Gildenau had left. That had more to do with, like, locations. I don't remember his brothers, but he never rejoined the band. And then, of course, it also had Frederick Hermanson and Johan Hallgren, who has since rejoined Pain and Salvation after leaving right after the Road Salts, I think. I mean, they was only this lineup for, I think, what it would have been about 3 to 4 albums. I think it was from 1 Hour by the Concrete Lake through this record. So it was like 4 records: Concrete Lake, Perfect Element, Remedy Lane, and then B. But yeah, I mean, if you've never heard Pain and Salvation, I wouldn't necessarily say this would be the first place to start. But some people find that this record is more interesting because it did so much. It's like an opera. It's really an opera. It's a lot of narration, and it's very orchestral. It's not as heavy, although it has some heavy tracks. But I should do a video on Pain and Salvation again, or maybe a series of them. I'll do a series. They only have whatever it is, like 9 albums. So they have a new one that's in the works right now. Daniel Gildenau's been posting on Instagram. about recording and stuff like that, but it might not be coming until they're doing a tour too. It might not be coming until 2023. They're doing a tour of the U.S. because they're playing at Prog Par USA. I think in effect next month in May, and then they're gonna do some dates in the States. They're not coming to the Twin Cities. They were supposed to play in St. Paul. I think it was like 2017, 2016, somewhere around that time, and then Daniel got sick. He was halfway through the tour, he got sick, and they had to cancel. It's like not meant to be for them to ever come here. Kind of like Peter Gabriel or Genesis. Speaking of the last Genesis concert ever in the O2 Arena, last shows from like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Of course, I never got to see him. I saw Phil. I saw Steve Hackett. I'm going to probably see Steve Hackett again in a few months. And I saw... Yeah, that's it. I never got to see Peter Gabriel still. I have to like to. So, anyway, that's my kind of haul for the recent times. But yeah, there's a few things I'm also expecting on, or I'm going to try to look to order soon. And then, of course, there's all these new releases still in the works. When I get the Team Me CD, I'll have to show that as well. That's coming in the mail eventually. But thank you for watching. What CDs or what vinyl have you picked up recently? I'd love to know. We'll see you next time. I almost forgot. Like I was trying to get on the Solstice Records thing. It got me thinking. I might consider trying to make some little documentary things on some of the record stores in town here. I don't know what's going to be involved. I don't anticipate it to be a highly time-consuming process of years in the making like some of these documentaries, but I don't know. I don't know if it will happen, but if it does happen, how long it may take, how much work will be involved. I might just kind of go by my favorite record stores, your Cheapos, and your Cheapos and Electric Fetus and Agartha Records and Barely Brother Records and stuff like that. Just to feature them, and you talk to like the people there. It would be nice, to be cool if I could get like stories. Because the Solstice Records little piece that was shown, that's like 6 minutes, talks about how the owners wanted to go to record stores that they felt welcome or whatever. Their taste was represented, and my wife especially can relate to that, doesn't necessarily relate to that here, but relate to that feeling of going to record stores. That's why she'd like to, or we'd like to go to a store someday, but that's a pipe dream maybe. We gotta win the lottery or something, but it might be something to try doing, just to maybe I'll get a new camera or something like that over the next year, next couple of years if time allows. Just talk to maybe the owners or something, or people involved if they have like an off day and I have time off. Just go over there, shoot for an hour, edit it down to 10, 20 minutes, and I don't know, there might be, I figured maybe like a dozen of them. I could do like one a month if time allows. I don't know. It may be just all talk. I have a lot of ideas that never come to fruition, but the whole idea of making a documentary, if it's available from a time standpoint, would be really fun and interesting, and I could do it. But it's all just an idea. But if it happens, I'm standing here a year or 2 years from now, and I'm sort of in the process of it. I've seen some other ones done on YouTube, like other people that have filmed record store owners and talking about their record collection. Some in Wisconsin, some out east, some in the South. It wouldn't be that. I don't think it'd be impossible to do. It'd be a matter of literally how nice and how well edited it would be. That would be a different story. I might be getting a new desktop computer with more software or something like that, a new laptop, and I would maybe be assisted by that. But yeah. So anyway, maybe this is a second video. What would your take? Would you want to see a documentary series on record stores in different areas, like specifically the Twin Cities where I live? If you would, I may try doing that, but I'm not going to be paid any money for it at this point. I don't think it's going to be completely a labor of love and pro bono. But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.